Hey everyone, Coach Dana Cavalea here, and I got a great episode for you today with a YouTube star. Not the type of star that you're thinking though. One of the greatest farmers in the United States, a cattle farmer by the name of Judy, and he's based out of the state of Missouri. And man, this guy is so passionate about the land. He's so passionate about cattle. And in today's show, just amazing lessons on our food supply and how we can really utilize the land to improve our overall health, and some great life lessons too, just about passion and doing what you love and finding your calling in life. And I think we can all find inspiration from that. And Greg's one of those guys that, if you haven't seen his YouTube channel, go, type in Greg Judy on YouTube, and I think you'll be very, very surprised at how much we don't know about the land, and how much we don't know about cattle, and how much we don't know just about our food supply, and maybe for some of us just how far removed we are from the basics in life. So without any further ado, I want to get you watching the show with Greg, Judy, and myself. Enjoy. See ya.
Journey to be on, though. When you get out on the land, you feel connected, and you got nature around you. And when you start managing your farm in sync with nature, it's a wonderful living, and it's a great way of life.
Yeah, it's very therapeutic and relaxing, and I know so many today could really benefit from just even if they don't have a farm, but just getting outside. And I think you inspire a lot of people to do that.
Yep. Well, thank you, Dana. Our YouTube channel has definitely reached out to a lot of people, and we share what we do on the farm, and we've made a lot of mistakes, but we've also done a lot of things correctly. And so I want to share that to make other people, they don't have to make the same mistakes that we did.
Yeah.
So it's exciting stuff.
Oh yeah. It's well, I think a lot of people appreciate the candid nature, and that it's not overly edited. It's just, here, let's come on out with me today. And I have us streaming on Facebook right now. So anybody that hasn't seen Greg's channel on YouTube, make sure you get over there and take a look, because it's worth your time. Sometimes it's funny. Go ahead.
It's Regenerative Rancher. That's what you got to type in.
Yeah. Regenerative Rancher. Type that in YouTube, and I know you're gonna love it. We had some friends over the other night on Sunday night, and I was like, what should we put on for some background on the, just on the TV, and they said, what's going on with all the cows back there? And it's amazing, they start to look, they start to ask questions, and then all of a sudden the eyes start, becoming glued to the TV.
Right.
So
yeah, it's funny, Dana. People, I've never edited a video in my life. It's just, you said it earlier, it's whatever I shoot with my phone, that's what we get.
Yep.
And so I think people can identify with that. It's just, I'm not pulling any punches. I'm just showing you what we're doing, and it may apply to your circumstances and it may not, but I'm just going to show you straight up what we're doing.
Yeah, no, it's super cool. I wanted to ask you, what inspired you to get into farming? I know, I again, in watching a lot of these episodes, I feel like I know you already, but you had a town job that you worked at, but what inspired the farming, and what inspired you to go back to the land?
I just had a really deep, passionate love to get back onto the land and be part of the landscape with the animals and the grasses and the clovers and the streams that run through our farm, and the woods and the wildlife. It's just in me, and to be successful in anything in life, if you are passionate about it and you have a deep passion, you will succeed. And I don't care how many people tell you you're nuts, you just got to ignore that and keep on doing it. And if you do things good and write down a list of goals, and you keep it, going toward those goals, you will achieve your dream. Nobody on this world can tell you otherwise. It's you. And if you make up your mind to do it, you can do that.
Yeah.
That's what got me, Dana. I mean, I was addicted to it. I still am.
Yeah.
I love
feel that passion.
Yeah, I love it. And, I set a goal to quit my town job by age 50.
Okay.
And I knew I had to get enough income on the farm to replace my job in town.
Mm.
And at age 50, I easily had that done. And golly, I've never looked back. It's just been an awesome, awesome journey. And it still is.
That's so cool. So for those of you that for those that know you as Greg Judy, of Green Pasture Farms, the town job, what was your day? What were you doing with the town?
So my town job, I worked for a big company that we supplied all the electric utilities of the world. And so we made transformers, fuses, switches. And my last job, I was a demolition guy. I blew stuff up
Wow, cool.
with, with electricity. I had a huge generator, a bombshell, a bomb shelter. And we would explode things until they just completely blew up. And it was a great job, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. My
Mm,
passion, all I could think about was the farm, Dana.
mm,
Every day I went to town, I had to stay in a building. I wanted to be outside,
yeah.
with the birds and the livestock. And when I go move my cows in the morning before I went to work, it was like almost pulling my soul away from that farm every time I had to go in my truck to get to work. And so the day that I quit, I didn't even tell my wife. I
Mm,
quit my job. I just went up and told my boss, I'm done. He goes, what do you mean? I'm like, 2 weeks notice, I'm done. Well, what are we going to do? I'm like, well, you better get somebody in here to replace me.
yeah.
And
No, that's
it was the best day of my life, Dana, to walk out and do what I wanted to do. And I
yeah.
tell people, don't wait too long, because you don't know how many good days you've got left.
Mm,
And to pursue farming, you're the right age. Don't get too old, because you lose your energy level. And so you need to start doing something when you're at least in your 40s or 50s.
mm.
You can do it in your 60s, but you're not going to have the energy level you do in your 40s. So if you have a dream, go for it.
Yeah. No, it's super cool. I remember going up to the farm that we just purchased, this past summer, and the homeowner, they had been on that farm for 20, 30 years and they loved it. And they had another farm in town, but they were moving this one.
Yep.
And
Yep.
they took us for the most passionate tour of 130 acres. It was amazing. It was just, they walked the
Yep.
perimeter. They were just talking about all their memories, and you could just feel
Yeah.
their passion for this land mass, and it just
Yes.
had a lot of history in it. So I get it. And I think so many people today, I think a lot of people aren't sure what their passion is, believe it or not, today.
Right. Right. Well, I feel like, sitting behind a computer screen all day long in a cubicle, golly, I mean, and your life goes by every day doing that. And I talk to people all the time that are from that background, and they're like, Greg, we want to do something real
Hmm.
before we leave this earth. And that's what they're doing. They're coming back to the land, Dana. There's
Yep.
people that have expendable income. They've saved a pretty good portion of money. They're buying farms and they're going back to the land. Well, yourself. I mean,
Yeah.
what inspired you to get back on the land?
Well, for me, I'm always go go go. So a big part of my job is, I fly around, I speak, I'm always teaching, I'm
Yep.
always on the move. And I said,
Yep.
I want the yin to that yang, and that's, I remember sitting in my office at Yankee Stadium, maybe 10 years ago, and I would be looking up, you know, property, 100+ acre
Yeah.
properties, and I said, someday,
Yeah.
you know, I was that guy. I wasn't in a cubicle, but I was in my office and I was dreaming about what freedom would feel like. And that's why, like, I named the farm Freedom Farms. And
There you go.
yeah,
Yep.
but the whole idea was to pursue freedom and pursue a vision, and get back outside, because we spend too much
Yep.
time, within the four walls. And, nature, as you experience every day, it's an expansive landscape that just
It is.
it light it brings you back to life.
It does. It does. And Dana, people ask me all the time, Greg, what are you going to do when you retire? I'm like, what? What are you talking about? I feel like I'm retired every day because I get to do what I love
Yep.
every single day. And,
Mm.
we've got young interns now living on the farm, and we bring them on for year internships, and we train them. And it's just a great experience to be around young people that are passionate about what we're doing here. And we can teach them, and so we have this bloodline coming on of young people that are, learning the correct way to do things.
Yeah. Well, you know, it was
So
interesting this year with, this past year with COVID, and you start hearing about,
yes,
the grocery store shelves are running out of meat. They're running
yeah,
out of food.
yeah,
The first thing that came to
yes.
mind for me was, wait a minute, if this could happen, I don't want that to ever happen. We can do
No,
something about that by, having some land and working it and using it for what it's supposed to be
absolutely.
used for.
That's right. And Dana, you know how those animals were raised. You know what they ate, and they're in your freezer.
Mm.
Okay. And so that's called local food security. There's nothing wrong with that. And a lot of people say, but maybe I can't make a living on land. Well, what is your food worth?
Mm.
Your body is a temple. Anything you put in your body, and if it's junk going in, it's junk coming out.
Yep.
And so the healthier you eat, you're probably going to have less health issues, period.
Absolutely. Greg, I wanted to ask you, what inspired, cattle farming? Like, how old were you? Did you grow up on a farm? I mean, what was your first taste of farming?
Yeah. So I was born and raised on a dairy farm up in northern Minnesota, up by
Okay.
Duluth,
Mm-hmm.
very cold.
Oh,
And
yeah.
we moved here to, we moved to central Missouri, brought the dairy cows with us and dairied for a couple of years. And then I grew up on a farm. I always milked the cow by hand. We sold the dairy herd, but we kept a couple for the family.
Mm.
And I was the milker. That's what I did morning and night.
Mm.
And I wouldn't trade that experience for anything. It taught me, you know, there's a job that it's got to be done, and nobody else is going to do it. You have to do that job. And so I was always around livestock. And then when I got out of high school, but let me back up, Dana. When I, and this is hard to believe, but when I was 7 years old, I remember sitting on the pond bank fishing, and I could envision a herd of cattle,
Mm.
a large herd of cattle, and I was standing up on the hill overlooking them. That was at 7 years old.
Wow.
So
Vision.
I had a vision. I had a vision at 7 years old. That's what I was going to do. And so all through life, I kept that vision, and I just kept going toward it. I'm like, that's what I'm going to do, And the older I got a job in town. I started doing things wrong on the farm,
Mm.
and I tell you what turned my whole life around. It was one sentence. And the sentence went like this: your sole purpose in life should not be to own the land, but to control it.
Mm.
And I'm like, what's he talking? And he was talking about leasing idle land that other people owned that didn't know how to manage it for grazing. And
Yeah.
that was our sweet spot. And so today, we, I was almost bankrupt. I mean, in 2001, a terrible divorce I went through and got out of that, met my wonderful wife, Jan, and today we've got 16 farms.
Wow.
And 12 of those farms are leased. 4 of them we now own, debt free.
Mm.
And we own all of our own livestock. We've got 375 head of cattle. We run sheep. We sell guarding dogs. We do consulting. We have a grazing school. I have books. I've written 2 books now,
Very
on what
cool.
we did. And so I think there's a lot of stuff that we did correct, and I want to share that with people. But the biggest one is the land. Land is the most expensive part of any farming operation.
Mm.
And when you can find idle land that people own and you can lease that land, it allows you to keep your equity and invest it in livestock.
Mm.
Livestock have babies, okay? Every year they have a baby for you. And it's being raised on grass. That's your unfair advantage. The grass is grown by the sunlight. Use it. Every square inch of your farm should be covered with a solar blade of grass,
Mm.
and converting that to valuable protein through the livestock. And you can make a very healthy living on the land.
Yeah.
While you're regenerating the soil gets better every year.
Mm.
Why does it get better every year? It's because of the cattle and the sheep. They're trampling all this beautiful organic matter on the surface and feeding the earthworms and the soil microbes. It's a wonderful,
It's a
it's a
yeah.
wonderful closed loop.
It's a process.
It is. It absolutely is. And Dana, it's been happening for thousands of years.
Hmm. Greg, why do you,
The business, go ahead.
I was just going to ask you, why do you think, I speak to, farmers and so many of them are dead set on feed. They're using all sorts of different feeds, and they say, well, it makes the steak and the meat taste better, when you give it feed. That's what I hear a lot, especially when
Oh, I know.
I listen to what you're saying and what you're preaching every day. And I'm saying grass, grass, grass. And I tell them that and they say, that won't taste good. That'll taste like shoe leather. And they go with
Yep.
feed. They
Yep.
all want to buy feed and stuff the cows.
Yeah. Well, do you know a cow was not designed to eat grain? They're called herbivores for a reason, not grainivores.
Yeah.
Okay. The minute you put corn in the gut of a ruminant animal, it turns its gut acidic. The pH in that ruminant's perfect. It's 7. The minute you put corn in there, you upset that cow's stomach. They're not designed for grain. They're designed to eat something that you and I can't eat and turn it into a valuable protein. So when people start talking about taking animals off the land, oh, they're destroying the environment. That's a bunch of hogwash. We've got to have the animals on the land to heal it. You know why? To build organic matter, to capture the rainwater, to hold it on the land, to prevent all the flooding we're having. We don't have a water problem in the United States. We have a water infiltration problem. And that's because there's no organic matter left in our soils due to our farming practices. We need animals. We need animals back on the land. And grass-fed is the best. For those guys that say they hate grass-fed, I understand 100%. They've never had a good grass-fed steak.
Yeah.
Okay. Once you do, you never go back. You never go back. Yeah. It's that good.
It's fantastic. I love it. I mean, I love talking to you about it, and I love your passion for it. But I think there's a lot of confused, people out there, and for some folks, they say, this is what I wanted to talk about. Just when you go to the store, you may see some advertising on the meat that says grass fed, but is that always true?
No, it's got to be 100% grass finished. So grass fed means the calf ate grass for the first 9 months of his life, 7 to 9 months. They took him off the mother. He was stuck in a feedlot and he's fed grain the rest of his life. That can still be grass. Heck, he ate grass. He did for a while, but he was finished on grain. And, I'm not going to sit here and badmouth grain a lot. I mean, there's going to be people you're not going to convince them, but here's what I'm talking about. Dana, if you want to make a living on the land and you want to improve your farm and your soil, you have got to rotate animals on grass. You can't do it with a feedlot. You've got to get the animals out on the land. And when the animals are in their natural environment, there's no stress on them. There's no stress on you. And you're actually healing land. There's not a surplus of nutrients going down into the creek. It's all being caught on your farm. So they're an asset. They're not a liability at all. Absolutely not.
And I like what you say too about even putting animals in barns, how that's where most of them can get sick, because again, I am, there's going to be a lot of folks that listen to this that are, more in metropolitan areas, and they see a barn and right away they go barn, cow, and that's where they should be when it's cold. Cows should be in barns when it's cold. And you're saying, no.
Absolutely not. That's the worst place you can put an animal because that's where all the disease is lurking. Animals have been outside for thousands of years and they went through the winter just fine. We moved our cows this morning onto a fresh piece of grass and it's -7 below. Did you hear that? It's 7 below zero this morning. Guess what? Every cow went into the pasture and started eating grass. You can watch my video. It's going to be posted, this afternoon of that move. And those cattle, I unrolled a bale of hay for them. Guess what? They didn't eat it. And it was a good bale of hay. They went out and ate the grass under the snow in just brutal temperature. They've got a good winter hair coat on them. Here's the deal. Your cows need to be moved. They don't need to be bunched up in a barn. They get hot. They get hot. A cow is 70% water. She has a huge fermentation tank inside her gut. That's called the rumen. It's warm, okay?
Mhm.
When you put a bunch of them in a barn, it'd be like putting Dana, a whole bunch of you in a closet and
Yeah.
telling you to be comfortable in there. You're gonna get hot. The cows are the same way times 10. They need to be outside. They don't need to be standing there pooping their pee. They need to be out on the pasture where it's clean. And every day we move our cows morning and night.
Mm. Yeah,
So yeah,
it's great. It's
don't
fun.
get me started on barns.
No, I know. I'm thinking, it's fun. Again, I hope everybody that's listening on today, gets to the YouTube channel because it's fascinating. And, even, I find it fascinating too to watch you, move this cattle herd down, basically down the street, which is another
Yeah,
amazing thing. How you got 300 plus head moving down the road,
they
and
love it.
they love
Love
it. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking to myself, being again in more of a metropolitan area, man, what nice neighbors he must have over there. Or you're filling
Well,
their freezer quite nicely.
we're waiting till 9 to 10 o'clock in the morning. Everybody's at work in town, and
Mm.
we just don't meet anybody. We get the cows on the road. I'm in the front. My intern's at the back, or my wife is blocking, and we just take off. And the baby calves, the bulls, the heifers, the cows, everybody. We're just one big family, and we take them for a walk. They know they're going to greener pastures.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very cool, and it's very rewarding to see. A question I had for you, Greg, was, you spend so much time outside. You spend so much time, with the land, with the animals. What have they taught you? What have you learned? What are some of your big impact lessons that you've learned in being in nature and
Yes.
being on the land and with the animals?
Well, here's what I've learned, Dana, over the years. When I first started out, I was very anti everything that I'm doing. And
Mm.
so the first thing in my morning when I woke up is, what can I kill today? Those trees out there in that pasture that are taking over my farm. I got to go kill those. Oh, there's a weed. I got to go kill it. Oh, there's coyotes. They're going to kill my sheep. I got to go kill them. No, 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 no. The more you think like this, every species that you can attract onto your farm, it supports 8 additional ones. And so think of your farm as a spider web of life.
Mm.
The more strands that you can put in that cobweb, the stronger your farm is. And so the coyotes, if you shoot the coyotes on your farm, which we don't, we're predator friendly. If you kill a coyote on your farm, all you're going to do is start losing baby lambs,
Mm.
because that coyote mates for life. You just killed his partner. And
Mm.
now there's going to be 8 more coyotes come in to take his place. And now you're going to start losing sheep.
Mm.
We don't shoot predators. Far as the weeds are great food for sheep. Sheep love eating weeds, so we're not going to spray. We don't spray any of that stuff on our farms. There's so much in nature. If you just stand back and get out of the way, don't interrupt nature. Look at nature and kind of try and mimic her as closely as you can. And there's a saying I'll share with you. It's carved on a major agricultural building, and it just makes me furious every time I read it. It goes like this: nothing in nature is given.
Mm.
It is won. W-O-N. In other words, you've got to get a big old stick or a meaner chemical or a bigger machine and beat Mother Nature into submission, or she will whip you. That's not right at all. The more we work with nature, everybody wins.
Mm.
The environment wins. Your pocketbook wins. The animals win. Your water is healthier. It's a win-win. And
Mm.
you know what, Dana? You don't live long enough to whip nature.
Yeah.
You don't.
It's true. There's so much talk today about, saving the earth. Yet
Yeah.
most people, if you ask them, well, how are we going to do it? They don't have anywhere. They don't have this conversation. They're not talking about,
No.
anything having to do with cows. You're almost hearing cows are bad.
They are. That's what they say.
Yeah.
Oh, we got to get more GMOs, or now all these weeds are becoming resistant to glyphosate. Oh, we got to get a meaner chemical now to kill the weeds. It's a rat race. It's a
Yeah.
rat race. You got to stop doing that. We got to go back the other direction. We're doing what worked for thousands of years. The bison went across the prairies eating, and then they moved,
Yeah.
leaving the manure and urine behind them. what kept those animals bunched together? What kept them bunched together? The
Mm.
predators. We have a predator on our farm, and it's called the electric fence.
Yeah.
And so our electric fence is our predator. We keep them moving constantly.
Wow. No, it's great. You know, there's a special that the old comedian George Carlin did, and he talked about, nature, and he talked about the environment, and he said, listen, stop taking yourself so seriously about what you're going to do. He goes, the earth is very capable. And I
Yes.
found
Yeah.
that to be right in line with what you talk about, and
Yep.
and again, very powerful.
Dana, one of the biggest charges I get out of doing this is leasing a new farm that hasn't had animals on it for 50 years and bringing our mob grazing techniques onto that farm and seeing the profound difference in 1 year.
Mm.
When you bring a mob of animals onto a farm and you trample that nice, beautiful carbon, the organic matter, onto the soil, and then you leave and don't come back for, let's say, 45, 60 days, however long it takes for the plants to regrow, and you
Mm.
keep repeating that process, it's amazing what happens. I mean, earthworms explode, soil microbes, dung beetles, butterflies, bees, all this beautiful nature's working for us.
Yeah. Well, in one of your videos, my wife loves this one where you go down, you put your hand to the earth and you say, hey, I'm going to basically lift up this canopy, which is, all this grass, and show you what's actually
Yes,
going on in the soil. And you can
yes.
see, how much activity is actually going on at
It's
at that
exciting.
level.
Yes. Yes. Earthworms. Earthworms. We've got right at 22 earthworms per square foot now.
Mm.
22. When you get up to 25 earthworms per square foot, that's about 40 tons of earthworm castings per acre per year.
Wow.
Go out and price a ton. Go out and go on the internet and price what a ton of earthworm castings will cost you.
Wow.
They're expensive.
Yeah, no,
Okay?
I I,
And
I bet. Yeah,
the
I find it.
pH, the pH on earthworm casting is perfect. It's 7.
Mm.
We need earthworms, lots of them.
So I want to go back to that. You talked about the cow's stomach being 7. By
Yes.
feeding the cow grain and you're making the cow more acidic. I'm guessing, I'm just speculating here, that you're going to say that acidity gets passed on to the end user or the end
Well,
consumer.
absolutely. Where do you think your E. coli comes from?
Yeah.
It's impossible to get E. coli in a pH of 7.
Mm.
Rumen, you can't get it. So when they accidentally cut the gut open on one, when they process them, they've been fed corn, there's a really good chance that you can get E. coli in the meat. So
Yeah.
there's another reason you don't want to feed them.
Yeah. And
And it Go
alongside
ahead.
that, Greg, I was going to say this. There's so much talk today about, disease, specifically cancer thriving in an acidic environment. And yet,
Yep.
people are investing all this money, right, in buying pH water, right? pH that's, water that's at a pH of 10, but they're not
Yep.
paying attention to their food supply. And that could just totally throw off your entire systematic alkalinity.
It really does. And, we've converted a few really rabid vegetarians. And a real quick story. We had a young lady here come on a farm tour. I didn't know she was a vegetarian. And she's out in our pasture. And I did a mob move. All the cows come storming by her. And they looked at her. And one came up to her and licked her on the hand. And
Mm.
it had a daisy sticking out of its mouth.
Wow.
And the young lady told me a year later, said, Greg, you saved my life. I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes, Greg, when that heifer licked my hand, I realized I had to eat her to save my life.
Mm.
She was sick. This girl was sick and had been for years. She was been eating all this tofu crap,
Yeah.
GMO soybeans. And she's like, she's a fit of health now. And she realized that she had to eat that meat from an animal that was out on green grass.
Mm.
But the reason she didn't eat meat, she didn't like the feedlots.
Yeah.
And she said, wait a minute, you're raising them correctly. So
Yeah.
anyway,
No,
Yeah,
it's,
it's
you know,
cool
I'm
stuff.
glad, I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the questions that I had was, you know, your thoughts on, you know, there's so many vegans and vegetarians out there that are saying, hey, I'm eating this way for these two reasons. I'm eating this way for health, and I'm eating this way because, you know, I feel bad for the animals. But when we talk about eating for health, the crap that they're eating that's vegan, a lot of that is just
Yeah,
junk.
it's junk. It's
Yeah.
junk. You cannot get the proper nutrition. I mean, it's unbelievable. And if you think soybeans are favorable to the earth, I can show you tens of thousands of acres of soybean fields that have bare soil on them all winter long. It's got ravines washing through them from rainwater. Come out and look at our pastures. They're
Mm,
covered in forage. We don't
yeah.
have any bare soil. Dana, you've got to, you're a farmer now, so I'm going to pass you a little tip. When you go out onto your farm and you see a bare piece of ground, I don't care what caused it, whether the animals caused it or rain or an event happened out there. Maybe you did some bulldozing work. Make sure you cover that up with some old hay and put some seed on it. That's Mother Nature's skin. She
Mm,
hates having her skin exposed. Don't get comfortable to seeing bare soil anywhere on your farm. You're not capturing any solar energy right there.
yeah. It's interesting as you're saying that, I'm thinking of this farm near ours where they have a paddock that's, it's all just exposed dirt. It's like
Yeah,
they had horses there, but the horses ate everything down so much that it's like a mud pit. I said, you might as well put pigs in there.
yep.
But
Yep,
it's,
you're not healing any land. You're not healing any land doing that. Yeah, it's
yeah.
terrible. Some of the practices. Yeah, it's hard on the animals. It's hard on the land, and then also we get a black eye. Everybody, oh, look what the animals did to the land. It
Mm,
wasn't the animal's fault. It
mm,
was the manager's fault. He didn't move them.
yeah. Hey Greg, what do you say? What do you say to folks out there that again that are in that vegan, vegetarian lifestyle, and one of their again reasons why not to eat the meat is, you know, I don't believe in, you know, slaughtering animals, or I don't, you know, for me, I just don't know if they understand fully the purpose of the animal on the earth. That's my thought, but I'd love to hear
I
yours.
would I would challenge them to go to my YouTube channel and pick out a summer grazing video where I've got the animals out on green grass, and then let them make their own mind. Are those animals unhappy? Are they unhealthy? They get moved on to fresh, beautiful salad bar of grass every day. There's no stress. The animals are born on our farm, and that's where they spend their whole life. They have a wonderful life. They're not cooped up in a barn or in a feed lot.
Mm,
And so, to me, for you to change the earth, everybody's freaking out about global warming. For you to have a real effect on the earth, you need to eat pasture raised meats. Because if we don't support these farmers that are raising animals correctly, we're not going to change this thing. It's not going to get better with GMO soybeans. I can promise you that.
yeah.
And you're not getting the nutrition. You're not getting your proper nutrition. I mean, I would challenge you to go to a website called eatwild.com,
Okay.
eatwild.com, and go on there and look at the health benefits of grass-fed meats. She nails it. I mean, she really is dug down. There's another great organization called the Weston A. Price Foundation. They're focused on grass-finished fat, meat, and milk and eggs and cheese. Folks, the cheese from an animal that's grazing grass, in other words, making cheese from that milk, that is the highest level of CLA that you can get into your body. Conjugated linoleic acid, that's a good one. We
Mm,
need that in our body. It reduces, tumors, it fights cancer, Alzheimer's, you name it.
yeah.
You need that in your body, and a lot of people are not getting it today. They're just not getting it. So that's a challenge I would issue back is go and watch those animals and tell me, are they unhappy? Does it look natural?
Mm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
So you
love
got
this.
to,
It's great. It's great. You're right, because I just think people are no longer thinking along these lines. You know, I mean,
Dana,
even
they've been lied to. They've been lied to. Paul McCartney, Meatless, what is it? Meatless Fridays. He's promoting meatless. Period. Poor Paul. He's been lied to. I don't know how the guy's still alive.
Yeah.
I mean,
You're
he
starving.
can be the fit of hell. Yeah, it is. Your body's, you're starving your body, you know? And so, yeah, it's just, to me, I just like, it's just not natural. Those people that are vegans today, I want you to answer me one question. What do you think happened 10,000 years ago? In the wintertime, there was no vegetables.
Mm.
Those folks ate meat. And you know which ones they ate? Look at the caveman dwelling paintings on the side of the walls. They ate fat animals. You know why they ate the fat ones? They knew they had to have animal fat for good health, or they died. They would not make it through the winter. There
Mm.
wasn't spinach, there wasn't peas, there wasn't corn, there wasn't soybeans, there was meat. And so their ancestors, those vegans, wouldn't be alive today unless their ancestors ate meat.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Period.
true. It's funny as you say this, I'm thinking also too about dairy, how there's this, dairy's bad. Dairy is not good. You shouldn't have dairy. And it's funny because we talked to some of the local farmers where we're at with the farm, and they say, let me ask you one question. Can you milk a nut? What is, when it comes to almond milk or,
Yeah.
how do
Yep.
you milk a nut? You can't milk a nut. That's what they say.
You know the healthiest group of citizens in the United States today, as far as kids that have the strongest immune systems, are Amish.
Mm.
Amish kids. Guess what they're drinking? Raw milk.
Yeah.
They're eating the food raised on their farms. These kids are outside being exposed to dirt all the time. Their immune systems are through the roof.
Mm.
And today, kids get dirt on them, they fall down. We wash them off and get the dirt off them. Oh, don't play in the dirt, Johnny. We grew up playing in the dirt.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of the problem today is kids aren't being exposed to this stuff. And so, yeah,
It's it's
it's
interesting.
natural.
It's a lot of the, like, as you speak natural and you speak about it, it's like the earth has so much power, right? It has so much power to keep
Yeah.
us healthy. And
Yeah.
it's it goes back to almost Hippocrates, how he said, let food be thy medicine. But he wasn't talking about
Yes.
food that you buy, that just says healthy on the label. He's talking about the food that the land is producing.
Correct. Correct. And if you look at your body as a machine, if you put junky fuel into your truck, it's got debris in it, it's not going to run very well. You
Hmm.
put good high quality fuel in there, it's going to run well. And your body's the same way. We have a health issue problem in this United States. Everybody said, "Oh, we have the safest food supply in the world." Well, why do we have such a high health issues then? I
Yeah.
mean, the health industry is just exploding. It's because we're not eating good nutrient dense food. We need more density, more nutrient density in our food.
Yeah.
And you know why we don't have that? Because our land's broke. The
Yep.
soil is broke. We don't have the microbes in the soil. You don't get healthy microbial soil until you put animals on it. You got to have the animals.
Hmm.
And some of these people that are doing greens and greenhouses, they're starting to look back and go, you know what? You're right. And there's a really good farmer out there. He's a no-till, Gabe Brown from North Dakota, Bismarck. Gabe, he said, Greg, if I'd have switched and put animals on my land many years ago, before I did, he said, I'd be so much further ahead.
Hmm.
Gabe's got organic matter on some of his fields up to 11%.
Wow.
He can hold the 13-inch rain.
Wow.
13 inches. He can hold it on his land. His
Hmm.
neighbors look like the ocean. It's not soaking up the water.
Yeah.
So it's exciting stuff, Dana. It really is.
Oh, it is.
I'm so excited.
I'm pumped.
I'm excited to be part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, you should be, and you're making a big impact, in what you're doing. Even, for us, we had, before we came down, we actually just sold them at an auction, but we had a Black Angus and we also had a Hereford, and the Black Angus was bred and it was very heavy. And I think a lot about what you say in terms of the size of the animal. And man, when
Yep.
she got going, you could just hear her hitting the ground. And after, when the ground was soft, I took a walk out there and you see the tracks and how they beat up the
Yes.
land. And you can
Yes.
understand the cost of that also.
Yeah. Yeah. So you bring up a great point. For grass genetics and grass production, I think the sweet spot is somewhere between 900 to 1,100 pound cow.
Mm.
And if you're running 14, 16, 17, 100-pound cows and you get a 3-inch rein, you're going to be able to track her where she walked, because she's going to leave holes in your pasture, 8 to 10 inches deep.
Yeah.
That's called plowing you're plowing your farm. Don't do that. Don't do that. And for you all that are new, learn to do this. When you want to pick out a good cow, you need a cow that's got shorter legs, a great big old gut to hold all the grass, and a really slick hair coat on her. In other words, she looks like you put Armor All on her, or car wax.
Mm.
If you can find those type animals, buy them.
Yeah. And
Buy them and start your herd from that.
and Greg, so I have a question for you. I guess your cows are called South Pole, right? South Pole, is that what you have mostly? For
That is
folks,
correct.
so there's a lot of thought out there again, and I'm just going on the metropolitan mindset that the best cow is the Black Angus. Black Angus,
Yep.
Black Angus, Black Angus. I wanted to know your number one, your thoughts, and then number two, in terms of taste profiles of different breeds that are out there. Is there quite a
Yeah.
difference
So,
in taste?
you got to take your hats off to the Black Angus Association. I mean, they have done a masterful job of marketing, and there's nothing wrong with Black Angus. We've decided to go another direction. We run in the South Pole. They're a red-hided animal, and they're a little bit smaller frame. They are built for grass. That's what they produce on. And matter of fact, in our bylaws under the South Pole organization, it's illegal. You can't show a South Pole cow in a show. You don't want to be feeding them grain. They're developed for forage. And so we're trying to make farmers the cow-calf guy where he can make a living on the land. And a lot of these Angus they've gotten them pretty darn big. I mean, there's some great big Angus out there. But the reason we went with the red hide was on a hot day, Dana, here in Missouri in July, we can reach 100 degrees.
Mm.
So we did a test. We put a surface thermometer on a black one and a red one. The ambient temperature that day was 100. The red-hided animal was heated up to 107. The black-hided animal was 132. 132 degrees.
Wow.
That's why you see black cows standing in ponds around Missouri in July, because they're hot.
Yeah.
The red ones are still out eating grass.
Mm.
So that they do better in the summertime. And the South Pole was developed by Teddy Gentry, masterful guy. He knew exactly what he was doing. He put 4 breeds together: the Red Angus, Hereford, Centipole, and Barzona. So it's a 4-way cross. And they're designed to eat fescue and clover and make a living for the farmer on the land.
Mm.
That's what it's about. We're trying to push people like you, Dana, people just starting out, even people that don't have a lot of expendable income. If they can get their hands on 30, 40, 50 acres, even 20 acres, 10 acres, it's all scale relevant. Get you a few cows, but your cows need to be able to make it on what grows out there. You don't need to be carting your butt to town to buy feed.
Mm.
You're not going to make anything. You're not going to make anything. My daddy always told me it's better to do nothing and make nothing than to do something and make nothing.
Mm. Yeah, it's true. It's definitely a point of a wise man. That's
Yeah,
no,
if you're going to do it, hit a home run. Hit a home run, using your baseball analogy.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it the very best you can.
Mm. So, Greg, I want to switch gears just quick as we're winding down. How do you maintain your enthusiasm and your excitement every day? Because there's a lot of folks, again, like I said, that may be a little bit down, and they see you and they say, "Man, that guy's really excited. He feels great.
I'm telling you what, Dana. When you come from nothing, I tell you, when you come from nothing, which I did. I came from a large family. We didn't have anything growing up. We were dirt poor. Then I went through a terrible divorce, lost everything I had. So when you start from the very ground up and you start doing things correctly and things start getting better for you, because you're going the right direction. You're not fighting nature anymore. This morning we saw a bald eagle on our farm. Okay?
Wow, cool.
We went to move the cows. There was a bald eagle out there. We saw coyotes. We're always seeing coyotes and deer and turkeys and all kinds of hawks and owls. And you know what? This morning, there was an owl, I'm sorry, a red-tailed hawk perched on one of my birdhouses. We've got 450 birdhouses up.
Wow.
450. Why do we have so many birdhouses up? It's because they attract tree swallows that eat the flies that are sucking the blood out of our cows. That's our natural fly repellent, a bird.
Wow.
And so that hawk was sitting on a birdhouse eating mice in our field. It just, that's what I get excited about. So that's how I get my passion. Every day I'm on the land, I see our animals thriving. You go out in that herd of cows. Well, if you watch that video tonight, comes out at 4:00 New York time, tell me what those cows look like.
Yeah.
They're just fat. And it's cold out there, but they're thriving in their environment. So here's the purpose of a cow or any animal. The purpose of an animal is to perform into which the environment it was born. Period. And if they don't, you have to be the predator. You need to get rid of that animal.
Yeah.
Just get rid of them. Sell them, grind them up in hamburger or sell them to the market, whatever. But if that animal can't perform on the forage that's grown on your farm, she doesn't need to live there anymore.
Yeah.
Something's wrong. She needs to just leave.
Yeah.
So, yep.
You know what I love about all of this, and people see you, they see a guy that's super passionate. He's a farmer. He's on the land, but you run a business. You're a businessman at the same time, and you're using modern technology, right? In a phone,
absolutely,
and in YouTube, and you're spreading a message. So you're an entrepreneur as well, and you're not. I mean, and no offense, but you're not 21 years old or 22 years old, and you're not allowing any of this to limit you, and you're doing it.
No, I'm doing it.
And that's awesome.
I tell you, I've got two young men. One's 21, just turned 21. The other one's 24. And I told them, I said, guys, when I was your age, I didn't even know I was breathing. I wasn't focused on this stuff. And so I'm so excited for them. They're getting started with my technology and my wisdom.
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of sounding, I shouldn't say it like that, but they're getting a good exercise and experience here. Think what they can do.
Yeah.
Think what they can do. I didn't start doing this until I was 37 years old. I mean, I really I was doing everything conventional. I bought the land, I bought the cows, I bought the tractor, I bought all this equipment, and I was going broke. I was going broke, Dana. You know why? I wasn't focused on ruminant animals. Yeah. If you'll stay focused and invest your money in something that eats grass and gives you a baby every year, and don't feed them any of this purchased stuff in town, just give them mineral and grass. And you're going to have to feed some hay in the wintertime. You're going to come out on the other end pretty darn good. Yeah. But you got to move them. You got to move those animals. Yep.
You can't spend too much money on metal.
No, metal don't have babies. Yep. And when that metal breaks down, it costs a lot of money to repair it.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, those are some of the nuggets that I've taken from you is don't spend your money on metal, spend your money on the cows. And, I talk to a lot of old farmers and they're saying, well, we got to hay the property. We got to hay it. And I said, how much is hay? Oh. And they say, oh, it's $30, $35. I said, wait, but so you're only going to use half your farm and you're going to say, well, I can't use the other half because I got to use it for hay. I said, I'll go buy hay. That's just smart business, not, but I appreciate you pointing out these principles that I think are really powerful for farmers, and also the education and the knowledge for people just to know where their food should be coming from. And most people have never met a farmer. So today I wanted to introduce you to everybody.
Yeah. Well, it's just been awesome talking with you, Dana, and explaining what we're doing. And I've never been more excited about regenerative agriculture than I am today. So with all the doom and gloom out there, folks, get you some ground or find some ground somewhere, you lease it or whatever. And I tell people, it doesn't have to be a big area. Find you a little piece of ground, run some animals on, get your experience, and then be looking over the fence over there. Who's got that land over there?
Yeah.
If it's 5 acres, 10
grab
acres,
it.
maybe you could, grab it and lease it. If you can walk your animals to it, like we were talking about earlier, that's huge. You don't even have to haul them. Just walk them down the road ditch to your neighbors.
Yeah. No, it's
Maybe
fantastic.
maybe he may have a 5-acre backyard that he's mowing.
Yep.
Bring over some grass-fed hamburger and give him. Say, how would you like to be raising some of that in your backyard?
Yep. No, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Greg,
Yeah.
I have a last question for you. I always ask everybody this question that comes on the show. I call the show the Becoming a Champion show. I feel like we're all on a journey to be a champion, whether it's in business, whether it's as a farmer, whether it's a husband, whatever it may be. What does the word champion mean to a farmer like you?
The word champion to me is trying to be the best that you can be every day of what you love, making sure you retain that passion, having written goals, and being always trying to do something better or new.
Mm,
Unless you make a mistake, you should try to make at least one mistake a year. And
yeah.
if you don't, you're not trying enough new things. So
Mm,
always be on the lookout for something that's better and be willing to share what you know. Folks, everybody says, but Greg, you're giving away all your information on YouTube for free. You're just giving it away. You could be selling that. And I'm like, you know what? For everything that I've given away, I've gotten 10 times more back.
mm,
I mean, it's just done remarkably. Thanks for our marketing on our farm products. People are now seeing what we're doing. So don't feel like you're giving stuff away. Don't hide what you know. Share it. Share it
yeah.
with the world. Everybody needs this same information. I've got people all over the world following me on YouTube. It's just amazing.
Yeah. Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
It's an active community, and again, you'll laugh, but between when I'm coaching, most of the day I'm coaching, but in between when I need a break, I go down and I throw it on, and it's a good 15-minute serenade to just go back to the earth and just
Yeah.
it's calming
Yeah.
in its own right.
You go out and sit in your cows at night on a warm summer evening and bring you a 5-gallon bucket and you sit down in amongst them. They
Mm,
accept you as part of the mob.
yeah,
Okay. And you feel like you're part of them. I mean, they literally do. They come up and lick on you, and you can smell them as they come up, and you can feel the heat off their body. There's
yeah.
nothing like it. There's nothing like it. Yeah.
It's amazing, and I like too that it also it seems like it's provided you, number one, a great life, but also you still maintain a very simple life and existence, and I don't
Yep.
in talking to you and watching you, I don't feel like you're overstriding. You're taking it as it comes.
Exactly. I want to high, and I didn't cover that, but I think you should have written down your quality of life statement.
Mm,
What trips your trigger in the morning when you wake up? What really fires you up? That should be written down as your quality of life statement. And I keep that in my billfold. I keep it on the mirror in my bedroom. It's on my truck. It's on the refrigerator door. Every time that I think, okay, I'm tired, I just need to go sit down and zone out, I look at that goal, looking at that quality life statement. When I was working in town, I'm like, wait a minute, I still
mm,
got some daylight out. I'm going to go build that fence that I need to build. It put me one day closer to doing what I love.
yeah,
That's what it did.
yeah.
Yeah,
So we got to get our quality of life statements done, everybody.
absolutely. Write it down. Write it down. So you got to look at it all the time.
Yeah. No,
What makes you excited in life, Dana? What really are you passionate about?
mm,
You will succeed. You will succeed.
yeah. No,
Period.
listen. I get to coach people every day, which I enjoy, and now I have the farm that we're building out. So those two things, I'm pretty good, man. I enjoy everything that I do.
That's awesome. I can
So
tell you're very passionate. You're very passionate about what you do. And I've been on your website. I've seen some of your stuff, and that's why you're successful, Dana.
thank you. So I hope you guys enjoyed the episode with Greg Judy. Wasn't that a lot of fun? I mean, how often do we get to actually sit with a farmer and talk and learn, right from the source, from somebody that's on the farm every day, dealing with the animals, and really just in direct contact with our food supply. I think it's amazing, and I always, like I said, I enjoy Greg's passion and Greg's energy and really what he stands for. And I hope you felt that, and I hope you leave fired up and excited, and maybe you have a new view on cattle and a new viewpoint on farming and the importance of your local farmer. And for those of you that want to follow Greg more closely, I watch his YouTube channel every day. I really like it. It calms me down. It's very therapeutic and relaxing. But head on over to YouTube and Greg Judy, Regenerative Rancher. And who knows, maybe you'll be inspired too to start your own farm someday and get in touch with the land. This is Coach Dana Cavalea. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and more episodes to come. I hope you enjoy this episode of the Becoming a Champion show. See ya.